Enchanted Cookbook. Chapter 1, The Discovery. Mia and Max were two young chefs who had a passion for food and fairy tales. One day, while exploring a dusty old bookstore, they stumbled upon a mysterious cookbook. The cover was worn and faded, but the title was still legible: The Enchanted Cookbook. Mia and Max were intrigued. They opened the cookbook and began to browse the pages. The recipes were unlike anything they had ever seen before. They called for ingredients like magic beans, dragon tears, and unicorn tears. "This must be a joke," Mia said. "Maybe not," Max said. "It's called the Enchanted Cookbook, after all." Max decided to try one of the recipes. He chose a recipe for Cinderella's pumpkin pie. He gathered the ingredients and began to cook. As Max cooked, Mia watched in amazement. The pumpkin transformed into a golden pie crust, and the filling began to glow with a magical light. When the pie was finished, Max took a bite. His eyes widened in surprise. "This is the best pie I've ever tasted," he said. Mia took a bite, and she agreed. The pie was delicious. It tasted like happiness. Chapter 2, The First Adventure. Mia and Max decided to start their adventure with a classic recipe: Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother's cookies. They gathered the ingredients and began to cook. As they cooked, Mia and Max felt themselves being transported to another world. They found themselves in a cozy cottage, surrounded by the smell of freshly baked cookies. An old woman appeared in the doorway. She was wearing a red cape and carrying a basket of cookies. "Welcome to my cottage," the old woman said. "I'm Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother." The grandmother offered Mia and Max a cookie. They took a bite, and it was the most delicious cookie they had ever tasted. "Thank you," Mia said. "These cookies are amazing." "You're welcome," the grandmother said. "I'm glad you like them." Mia and Max stayed with the grandmother for the rest of the day. They talked about recipes and shared stories. At the end of the day, the grandmother gave Mia and Max a basket of cookies to take home. "Thank you for your hospitality," Max said. "We had a wonderful time." "You're welcome," the grandmother said. "Come back and visit me again soon." Mia and Max stayed with the grandmother for the rest of the day. They talked about recipes and shared stories. Chapter 3, The Journey Continues. Mia and Max continued to explore the Enchanted Cookbook, cooking their way through fairy tales. They met all sorts of interesting characters, from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Rapunzel and her prince. Along the way, Mia and Max learned about different cultures and cuisines. They cooked Italian pasta dishes with Pinocchio, Mexican tacos with Three Caballeros, and Japanese sushi with Milan. Mia and Max also learned the importance of sharing food with others. They cooked meals for the hungry and the homeless. They also cooked for their friends and family, bringing people together through the joy of food. Chapter 4, The Final Challenge. One day, Mia and Max came across a recipe for the ultimate fairy tale feast. The feast would be so delicious that it would make everyone who ate it happy. Mia and Max decided to cook the feast. They gathered the ingredients and began to cook. As they cooked, Mia and Max felt the power of the Enchanted cookbook. They knew that this feast would be something special. As Max cooked, Mia watched in amazement. The pumpkin transformed into a golden pie crust, and the filling began to glow with a magical light. When the pie was finished, Max took a bite. His eyes widened in surprise. "This is the best pie I've ever tasted," he said. Epilogue. Mia and Max continued to cook from the Enchanted cookbook for many years. They shared their recipes with others, and they brought joy to everyone they met. Mia and Max's story is a reminder that food is more than just nourishment. It is a way to connect with others and to share our culture and traditions. It is also a way to express our creativity and to bring joy to the world. Chapter 5, The Magical Gift. After the success of the ultimate fairy tale feast, Mia and Max decided to open their own restaurant. They called it the Enchanted Cookbook. At the Enchanted Cookbook, Mia and Max served dishes from all over the world, inspired by the recipes in the Enchanted Cookbook. The restaurant was a huge success, and people from all over came to try the magical food. One day, a mysterious stranger came into the restaurant. He was tall and thin, with a long white beard. He was wearing a black cloak and hat. "I've heard wonderful things about your restaurant," the stranger said. "I'd like to try one of your dishes." Mia and Max were happy to serve the stranger. They made him a special dish from the Enchanted Cookbook. The stranger took a bite of the dish, and his eyes widened in surprise. "This is the most delicious food I've ever tasted," he said. "Thank you," Mia said. "We're glad you like it. I am the author of the Enchanted Cookbook," the stranger said. "I've come to give you a gift." The stranger handed Mia and Max a small box. They opened the box and found a beautiful golden cookbook inside. "This cookbook contains my most secret recipes," the stranger said. "I want you to have it." Mia and Max were overwhelmed with gratitude. They thanked the stranger for his gift. The stranger smiled and disappeared. Mia and Max were excited to try the new recipes in the Golden Cookbook. They knew that these recipes would help them to create even more magical food at their restaurant. Chapter 6, The Legacy. Mia and Max continued to run the Enchanted Cookbook for many years. They used the recipes in the Golden Cookbook to create new and exciting dishes. The restaurant became even more popular, and people from all over the world came to try the magical food. Mia and Max also taught the art of cooking to the next generation of chefs. They shared their recipes and their knowledge with others, so that the magic of the Enchanted Cookbook could continue to spread. One day, Mia and Max decided that it was time to retire. They passed on the Enchanted Cookbook and the Golden Cookbook to their most trusted students. The students continued to run the Enchanted Cookbook, and they carried on Mia and Max's legacy of sharing food and joy with the world. Epilogue. Mia and Max lived happily ever after. They were proud of the legacy they had created, and they knew that the magic of the Enchanted Cookbook would continue to live on. Mia and Max's story is a reminder that the power of food can bring joy to the world. It is also a reminder that it is important to share our gifts with others. Mia and Max's story also teaches us the importance of mentorship. They passed on their knowledge and skills to the next generation of chefs, so that the magic of the Enchanted Cookbook could continue to spread. In the real world, we can all be like Mia and Max. We can share our gifts with others and inspire them to follow their dreams. We can also mentor young people and help them to reach their full potential. Just like the Enchanted Cookbook, we all have the power to make the world a better place, one meal at a time.